Let me unmute myself. Hey, everyone. Let's see. Let's getting everybody in here. How's everyone doing? I'm just going to wait for a couple of seconds to get everybody on the call and try not to chop my head off with my camera here. Let's see. Let's get you all in. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Just barely 12:01. Thanks so much for everybody being here. Okay, you're probably going to have to mute yours. Might get some feedback. This is a very, very important class today that I've been wanting to talk about, this course correction. And gosh, I feel like I need to start with maybe my thoughts as to why I wanted to do this course. So for this one today, really, I feel like there's a handful of agents that have been on long enough to see cycles and to really understand and how to kind of maneuver those. So before I get into it, I want to make sure I got everyone admitted in here so I don't leave anybody out. I feel bad. Make sure you've got your mics muted. I'm getting a little bit of feedback there. So anyway, so for those of you that are new to meeting me, my name's Nicole Briggs. And if you're new on this platform, I appreciate you being here and giving me a second of your time. I know we're all super busy and it's a Tuesday and it's noon in our area. So some of you, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I appreciate you carving out 45 minutes of your day or 40 minutes of your day to chat about this. It's interesting. Well, let me back up right quick. So for those of you that don't know who I am, I see a few of my local people on here. Hey, Beverly, good to see you. For some of my local people, I've been a real estate agent for 15 years. Well, I'm going on my 15th year. April 1st, Fool's Day. April Fool's Day is my 15th year. I started in the recession in 2006. I started my real estate career, and I literally saw the list and sell market, which we're experiencing right now. I saw for like a hot minute. I literally saw it for like 30 days. I listed my first property and I overlisted my very first for sale by owner by $15,000 and told them I could just put my commission on top and I'm sure I could probably get it for them. And I did. And they thought I was amazing. And I felt like I was amazing too, which is really funny because it actually does happen to be the market. But that's fine. It was a good confidence builder and it was a good learning experience for me to learn how to work for sell by owners. So yeah, so I've been in the business 15 years. I run a team of real estate agents as well in alongside my personal business that I am still in production. I still have my own personal business, and then Team Surge is my my team. I've got 5 buyer agents, 4 that work here locally. Amberly is my 5th one who does quite a bit in another county. However, and I've got one assistant that helps me with my marketing and all that fun stuff. And I hire a transaction coordinator independently. I feel like all too often we don't tell people like framework like it looks like in our business, especially when I get around people that are top producers. I sit back and I think, okay, how did you close 200 sides? Like, don't tell me you have no admin, because I just don't believe it, you know? So I feel like it's really important for me to tell you how many people I have on my team, how I operate, who I hire for a transaction coordinator, whatever. I think it's important for you to know the framework of my business so that you can understand kind of where I'm coming from and where I draw some of my experience from. I've had my team for about 6 years, for those of you that know. I had a partner up until my 5th year, and this last year I took over my team solely by myself. So this has been a changing year for me, and then I just started doing this coaching mentorship program in March of last year. So we've almost hit our 1-year mark. So I'm super excited to share. My most favorite thing about real estate is working with newer agents and or collaborating with agents that have been 5 years or so that understand the strategy behind real estate. And then for the new agents, giving them the motivation and the information that they need, because I feel like all too often we get into training rooms and we're so nervous to ask that we don't raise our hand, or we feel like our question is dumb. So I love being that voice to, like, maybe my answer isn't the right answer, but I'll give you the honest idea as to how I would handle it. And based on past performance, I've had pretty decent success. So hopefully, you all learned something from today. So let's get right into it. Talking about, anybody have questions about that, first of all, for those of you new? Anyone that have questions for me about who I am and who's on my team, or any questions before I dive into other stuff? No? Who's on your team? Oh, I love this. Let's see. So I've got Michaeli Tipa, which is my daughter. I just brought her on, and she's a new agent of 6 or 7 months. I've also got Katie Stevens. She's a real estate agent of, I believe, 3 years. Melinda Harris, she's also a real estate agent of 3 years. And then Cindy Anderson, and I believe, Cindy, are you on 3 years? 2 years? She'll be 3 years in August or something like that. She's retired from her first profession onto her second. Super cool lady. And then I've got Maddie, who is my marketing director, and that handles all my content that you see boosted out there. That's Maddie. And then a local gal here does my TCing for me. So, oh, you also asked me another question. Sorry. Help have I hired? TC marketing, et cetera, Matt. Okay. My transaction coordinator, I hired per deal. So I don't have anybody on staff for that. I like the per deal because I don't need to babysit anybody. I don't need anybody to have room in my office. So I like to pay her per deal, and she has her own business and she does her own thing. So I have a TC that does that. And then Maddie, I've had with me for, I want to say 3 or 4 years almost now. And I found her at the college. So if you're looking for a young talent that's good at social media, good at writing, you need someone that's got an English degree or an arts degree, go to the college. That's where you find young talent that's excited and they know way more than you do about social media and the ins and outs. Maybe there's some young ones on here that probably know more than I do, which is totally fine. But they're into it and they're really good at it, and they're 10 times faster than we are. So I've had Maddie on my team for quite a while. And when we split with my team, I was really grateful that she stayed with me because I would just be lost without her. So yeah, so that's who I have on my team. I'm also in a satellite office. I work in the brokerage. I'm in a satellite office, which I love so much. I'm kind of that person that I always just say, I just want to work, leave me alone. So I only lean into the brokerage when I need to or when I have problems. So I just tell them if my phone is ringing and you see my name, I probably have an issue. So I don't do a ton in the brokerage, but I do lean into some of their trainings that they offer a couple times a year, just depending what, especially when we're talking about market, which is what we're going to talk about today. We were talking about some market statistics and what's going on across the country, and that was very, very telling. Any other questions before I jump into it? So me and my notes, I'm always having issues with my notes, but I've got to get up my notes for a quick second. Here's the biggest thing that I am realizing, and this is why I wanted to do this course today, is I am noticing that through both markets, through the recession and through this pandemic, one thing has remained the same, is that real estate is still selling. People are still doing business, and I just need to have one of them. Every day, every month, whatever my focus is, I just need to do one deal, okay? Real estate is still happening, is happening all around you. Go to your Flex, go to your MLS and look and see, and it's always still getting bought or sold. You just need to find a way to stay in the game. This whole phenomenon that's going on, that's really just a ripple effect across our country. I'm talking to ladies all the way from California to New York to Canada. We're all, and all the way down to Florida, we're all feeling this huge ripple effect of this transitional real estate movement that's happening, where people are making moves based on certain situations or conditions that they happen to be in or views. And it's causing our real estate markets to feel a lot of pressure. How many people are in markets that are not in a high demand pressure? Raise your hand, because I feel like most of us are, as I'm looking at the list on here. Anybody not experiencing this? Like if you're from New York, anybody here from New York? I was talking to a gal the other day and she says, bless your hearts, you're all experiencing what we have for years, which is really interesting. She's like, we're slow and it's hard to sell our properties, yet you guys are experiencing what we have here in New York City for years. So I felt like that was a really interesting take on somebody that's feeling a different experience in our marketplace. So anyhow, so getting back to that, in the recession, what was interesting, and those of you who have talked about it, I'm sure you've heard buyers and sellers say, we're just waiting for a bubble. We're waiting for another bubble. The recession that happened was because of loans, right? And because the purchasing power was all on stated income. And so it felt very falsely inflated, where everything that's happening right now is cash. Like we're getting movement across the country and people are paying for cash. So when someone says to you, this is going to be just like the recession, there's no way it could possibly be like the recession because the loans aren't being handed out the way that they were back then. However, I've been chatting quite a bit about this because I feel like it's something for all of us to be aware of and to watch. If we think about it, all of these homes that are being purchased, what's driving it too is also that interest rate, right? And it's so good at 2.5%, but I really want to make sure that I put a bug in your ear to watch what's going to be happening there, because as we're selling all these homes and they're getting 2.5%, what happens when someone loses their job? What happens when there's a death in the family and they can no longer afford their mortgage? What happens when they get hit with, say, COVID strikes and their bills, or they develop cancer, or all of these things that happen that put people into a financial state that causes some change, right? Something happens in the marketplace, or let's say like this pandemic, right? They no longer have the ability to get a reprieve on their mortgage like they did back in 2006 to 2010. So nobody is going to be able to refinance. Think about it, your loans are already as low as they possibly could be. So that gives like a good food for thought, like what's going to happen? What happens when these people, they can't afford their homes? Like what happens if they are making a bad decision in purchasing and they buy too much and they lose their job? These are the things, and these are the factors that are going to happen as we move through the marketplace. No one knows when it's going to happen. The pandemic just kind of happened, right? And it all just kind of caught everyone off guard. However, if you haven't noticed, look how the entire country is adjusting, and that we're all correcting, and that we're all making sure that sales are still happening. We're still putting buyers and sellers together, okay? So the whole point of my intro to this is for you to realize that this real estate is an interesting business in that it's going to be solely up to you on how you weather every single market. And if you've been in it long enough, you've seen so many different cycles, and you have an option and an opportunity. You can either ride the cycle and your business can fluctuate and go up and down as that real estate cycle continues or happens, or you can develop a mindset that will make you be able to almost be bulletproof at dealing with market changes such as this. And I really didn't realize that like there's something to be said for that. I was talking and I was coaching my agents the other day, and I said to them, it's not a coincidence that in the pandemic, or in the recession market and in the pandemic, I had both of my best years in those 2 years. So it really got me thinking as to like, so why is that? And I don't say that to brag. I just say that because there's got to be a phenomenon that's happening there. And this is why I decided to start coaching, was because there has to be something that's a little different that causes us to do this. And the only thing that I can pinpoint my finger on is mindset. So I'm a huge, huge, huge believer in protecting your environment and the people that you spend time with. So I've got a couple things that I wanted to go over. If I can make this work to where I'm not struggling, that I wanted to go over with you guys that I think of when I'm trying to decide, or when I'm trying to make sure that my business stays on track. Because at the end of the day, do you want to know, this is literally how I feel about real estate. I don't care what's going on in the marketplace. I'm going to guarantee I am always going to get mine. And that might sound relentless, but really it is a mindset, and it's just a level of thinking and a way to know that at the end of the day, I'm going to make sure that the food's going to be on the table for my children and for my kids and for my family. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I make that adjustment, and I make it really, really quickly. How many people in their office go into a meeting and they're like, oh my gosh, have you heard like what's going on? Are you watching? Our inventory is just going and it's so bad. Like, this is so awful. This is so bad. Like, I literally want to just like stop talking because I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. So I literally like I shut my door, because I promise you, this is such an opportunity market for you as a real estate agent to learn some huge skills that will take you through and give you even more success when we're not in this cyclical market. And let me give you a for instance. So first off is going to be to just remain calm and don't panic. Like right now, we have 200 homes on the market in my marketplace. Okay. So right now, I think the best thing to do is go back to your business plan or whatever you set your goals on for the year, and make sure that you're focusing on that, not once a week, not once a month. Some people hire coaches and they meet with them once a month or whatever that is. I'm talking every single day. And you guys will probably get sick of me talking about this, but literally in the morning, I know exactly which buyers I'm working with, which sellers I'm working with, and who's on the hunt. Like, who am I working with that I'm trying to get their listing? And I'm so laser focused to make sure that I get that done. And for those of you that are moms that have little kids at home, I know that when I started and I had little kids, it was from 9 until 2. That was the time that I had to work. That's it. So at 9 in the morning to 2 o'clock, I knew there was a couple things that were for sure going to happen, and making sure that I knew who is I would call them like my hot sheet list, like my hot buyers, because I was a buyer's agent when I started down here in St. George. Who are my hot buyers and how can I get them under contract? Okay. I've talked a ton about strategy, and we can kind of dive into that a little bit, because I feel like different markets have really taught me different things in chatting with women across the country. But here's what we know about your offers, right? Like, we need to get way better at introducing to them the market's very fast. Not by telling them, by showing them. You got to get them into the office on the appointment, show them what's going on in the marketplace. There's literally 5 houses on the market for you right now. 5, which is totally fine. We can go look at the 5. But we need to show them what has sold. Show them what has sold in the last 30 days and say, these properties have sold in the last 30 days. Are there any in that list that I just sent you? There were 17. Are there any in that list that you really like that you could send to me? So I have a good feel for what area you like, what type of home you like, what are the have-tos, because we can't go shop, right? Like, we can't take our buyers around and go peruse properties and kind of, I'll show you 35. And if you're showing 35, bless you, don't do it. But we want to send them the sold list, okay? For all your buyers that you're working right now, and you can't seem to get them narrowed in, send them what sold in the last 30 days. And then when they send them back, here's what I say. I'm going to send you my top 5. You send me yours, and then we'll have a powwow about it. Let's talk about which ones we're both on the same page with. Because if I'm the area expert, I know which 5 are good. I know which 5 are going to be the best ones. But I want to see what their tastes are, right? So then I look at those and then I say, okay, great. Well, the ones that you like are similar to this subdivision, and this subdivision. And then I'm going to go prospect in those subdivisions. If you can't have the opportunity to knock doors right now or send mail outs and then go knock a door, I always opt in for send the mail out, or knock the door and leave your door hanger, and then follow it back 3 days later. Knock the door. Hey, I'm Nicole. Just want to let you know I dropped that flyer off at your house the other day. I've got a client that's looking to buy specifically in this subdivision. I just was wondering if you'd ever thought about selling it. Like, that's the script. So easy. You ever thought about selling it? No, we haven't. We love it here. I bet like everyone I know loves it here. It's a really great neighborhood. So do you know anyone else who's looking to move into the area? Because now I'm going to try to pick up a buyer. He's not trying to sell here. But, oh yeah, my kids are thinking about moving down here from Salt Lake. Great. Like, I'm going to ask for the list first, And then I ask on the buy the other side. So this market is really, really interesting because if you think you don't have anything to do and there's nothing on the market for you to sell, be proactive. You got to go find it. You got to go find it. So I kind of went off on a tangent there, but that's really like how I prospect and how I go out and find something. If you can't find something in a neighborhood that they're in, then you should be sending a mail out or knocking the door and leaving a door hanger, and then follow back 3 days later, knock at the door. Hey, I'm just so-and-so. I was a gal that left the flyer. I have so many people knock my neighborhood and they leave the little insert in my door. And I just like keep collecting them for like ideas on marketing because they never are going to come back by and knock my door again, you know?
Nicole, I have a question real quick. Everybody that I've been talking to and like getting information from keeps saying like, pick a niche. But I feel like this market is one of those where if you pick a niche, you almost kind of like lock yourself out, because for us, where I'm at, inventory is like non-existent. So we're like you guys, we have like 200 or less homes on the market. So can you focus on maybe like 3 niches? Just to kind of have more in your funnel so that you're not just like running on this hamster wheel of just looking for buyers or just looking in the 600 range or, you know, whatever your niche be.
Yeah. So in this type of a market, my niche is anything that I can sell that's real estate related. Like aside from water, because I don't want to get into water shares, that's not super fun for me. But my specialty, like when people say you need to niche down, I feel like that's really specific to like, I saw someone the other day that was trying to do a 55 plus and get their designation for that. To me, that's fantastic. I think that that's great, but I am certainly going to be cutting myself off at the knees in a real estate market like this if I don't go work the other ones too. Like my specialty, like if someone were to ask me, Nicole, what are you good at? I'm relentless and I'm best at working with buyers. That is my specialty. I know this. I know the area. I know the houses. I've sold probably 1 or 2 in each subdivision. Like I'm confident in that. So for me, I broaden that. Like my specialty is working with buyers. So, you know, when they're saying niche, it doesn't have to necessarily be a type of property. You could just niche down and saying that you're just going to become like a buyer's agent. And right now in this market, this is where you really should be focusing on buyers because that's what's going to build your repeat referral business for the long term. Like take the listings, right? Like, I mean, listings are going to sell in 2 seconds. That's a no-brainer. But the opportunity, and this is why I say like people should be so excited about a market like this because you have a load full of buyers to work with, and it gives you an opportunity to show them what you're about, and that you have an opportunity to show them that you're dedicated and that you're trying and that you're working hard for them, right? That even if they don't buy something and they change their mind, you will be adding them to your CRM system and you're going to be staying in touch with them for the next year or 2. They'll eventually buy. They're not going to change their mind forever. But if the goal is to build your CRM, your SOI, you know, you're supposed to be building your database. It's nice that we can do that with a buyer and a seller, but it doesn't always pan out, right? So I feel like the whole niching down thing is great. I mean, I don't know how big your area is, but if you only have 200 homes on the market, you're just like my area. You know, what would you niche down to?
I don't know. I mean, I was looking into doing that same thing with the elderly because there are certain neighborhoods here that we just know that elderly people have been living there. And there's a turnover now with people coming from Northern and Southern California. I'm in Reno. So I was thinking maybe doing that and getting the accreditation behind it. And then I'm definitely thinking of looking at buyers coming from California because I can relate, because I know why we all move here. Yeah. And then my third section is going to be commercial investment because again, being from where I am in Southern California, Newport Beach and stuff, we invested a lot and we have a ton of friends that are looking for money to put somewhere, and the returns here are crazy compared to California.
Yeah. So commercial or like multifamily?
Either or, like they're pretty broad in what they're willing to put their money in. So
yeah. Well, I think that's great if you can know about commercial, like if you can learn about that, I think that's fantastic. To me, I either will punt the commercial and I refer it out just because it's not my specialty, but residential home sales and investment properties, multifamily, duplex apartments, I've sold all of those. I'm comfortable and I feel confident in those, but as far as like getting into commercial, it's just a different is this a different animal? It's,
Yeah.
LOIs and a bunch of different things, that you have to kind of get into that I would feel out of my element, just my personal opinion. But as far as like niching down when there's 200 homes on the market,
How do you niche down? Yeah, like how do you? You can't.
I would never do that. Like I said, it's like cutting yourself off at the knees. And it's, you're right. There's a lot of elderly people, but think about this. Like, it's like you're building a database that's going away. Not trying to be rude.
No, yeah, because they'll downsize, they'll pass away, but that's the reality of life. But at the same time, I think if you take care of them, then maybe their kids or their grandkids 100%. Will say like, oh, they were so nice to grandma and grandpa. Yeah. Maybe I should use this person.
Yeah, I have a rule for my business, and I learned it, and maybe it's something that they teach at KAW, I don't know, but to have different legs of business. So, you have your SOI, and maybe you would do the same thing for your niche market. If you feel like you really need to specialize and you'd feel better about that, then you would maybe have 2 or 3 or 4 legs of business. Because I believe you need 5. For my personal opinion, I believe that in my business, running my business, I've got my, I have my team, I have my personal business, I have investment, and I have, money in another investment. So I feel like I put my money in different avenues. And I feel like that's the same thing with real estate. If you're going to niche down, at least you got to give yourself opportunities. You got to give yourself, because your pool just got so small,
Yeah.
And then
go ahead.
How long have you been a realtor again?
I'm still waiting on my license from both California and Nevada. It's just super slow, but I'm trying to do all the legwork I can. But even here, like we have people that are posting in our like company emails saying, I have buyers from California cash looking to up to 2 million, 5 bedroom, 5 bath or whatever. And there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing even in the luxury market. And that was my other niche that I was going to go into because I know that market. I've lived that market.
Yeah.
So, but it's crazy.
Yeah, it definitely is. And maybe I'm giving you, I don't know, but I can only give you what my experience is. Yeah. And I can say this much is now that I'm at the latter part of my career, I decide who I work with, which is a really great place to be. Mm-hmm. I decide whether or not I'm going to work with them or not based on whether or not I like how we gel together. I don't have to necessarily decide that, oh, you're a luxury, I'm going to go work with you. Or if I want to go sell a trailer for, $90,000, which I did last week, I'm definitely not above it. And they got the same customer service they got from me from the 1.5 that I sold last year. I'm that person. So I think really just specializing and being a good real estate agent mm-hmm. and giving quality service will give you that repeat referral business that you're looking for. And niching down like almost feels like that's got to be a really, really big market. Like that would have to be a different market too. This is that whole shift thing that we're talking about. And this is the whole readjusting that you're going to need to do if someone has done that and they've niched down. This is that correction that we're talking about. You've got to get outside your comfort zone and just be a specialist of selling real estate, and I feel like when you don't adjust, because people are like, well, I'm only selling because I know people that specialize in manufactured homes here. I mean, they just do a really, really mm-hmm. great job. But you know what the good thing is about that is when I know that I've got a buyer for one, I call her to ask her if she has anything coming on because I don't like what's on the market. So, become the expert in it if that's what you're wanting to do, but sell other things too. You've got to. I think
that's really important as well. I thought it was very limiting to just pick like 1 or 2 paths.
Yeah. So someone's also asking if you send out a mail or a door knocker and then knock the doors in 3 days. That's what I do. So if I had the phone numbers, I'd call in a heartbeat. I like to prospect over the phone. I'm way better on the phone than I am in person. Plus, it's a lot more time efficient. But I do feel like right now with the pandemic happening, there is a need for people to want to feel normalcy. And having a conversation with people feels good, and if they're scared or they're nervous, they'll stand back. Don't worry. You just tell them, no worries. I'm just going to keep my distance. I just was checking. I was the one who dropped off a flyer the other day and I'm looking for a buyer in this particular area. Or a seller in this particular area. I've got a buyer who's, ready to purchase and the market's super fast. Just was wondering if you thought about selling. So not salesy or gimmicky. I'm just asking you a direct question. You sit there and hum-ha around with your clipboard and you look like you're, prospecting for something else. They're going to be like, okay, no solicitors, do you know how to get phone numbers? Okay. So phone numbers, I had somebody ask that in my Facebook group. And we use white pages, and literally I'm a social media stalker. So I'll just find you on social media and I'll DM you. If I know that you are selling a property or you're a for sale by owner and you've got a property for sale, I'll just find you through that. But we use white pages and I just pay for a subscription. It's super cheap. There's always things that you can do with for sale by owners and stuff. You can get on Land Voice or Red X for expireds. I had good success with Land Voice. Rarely did I have bad numbers. If you wanted to call for sale by owners. But do yourself a favor if you're going to start pulling yourself some leads that are for sale by owners. Learn some type of script first before you waste your money on call. Because the biggest thing that people have when they get on and they start prospecting is call reluctance, and they're nervous to ask for the sale. So before you start paying $30, $40, $50 a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah, awesome.
Great. I want to hear what she did. She did something great. So anyway, so before you start buying leads, make sure that you've got some type of script that you'd want to dive into. Someone put in the group chat too, spokeo.com is also good for phone numbers too. Who is that? Where's Laura? Have you used that before? I'm curious about that.
I just got my license, came through.
Oh, well, there is that. See, I was gonna say, there had to be something good. Good for you.
Now I can start working.
Yeah, now you can sell something. Yeah. Now there's no excuses. Now you're like, now I gotta work.
Yeah, I know. Now I got to work.
Okay, Laura, are you there? I saw you just posted in the group. I wanted to know what that was like. You've used it. Your broker pays for the subscription. Okay. We have the worst one on the planet. What is that stupid thing that we have? Our brokerage has one too. And it is like Cole's list, Cole's directory. That's terrible. I don't even waste your money. I felt like that was such a waste of money. So yeah. Okay. So going back to like, where was I? About your niching down and your marketplace. I was talking a little bit about, what you're going to send to your buyers when you can't find properties or whatever. So make sure you're pulling those lists of solds. That's definitely how I get that done. The next thing I just wanted to talk about too is the mindset piece. And I don't know about you guys, but I can remember sitting in a lot of trainings for probably 5 years where all we did was talk mindset. And I just kept thinking, you know what, I feel like I'm a positive person. I really do. Like, I'm not really negative. And I'm fun factor 10. Just ask anybody. Like, I would be like my expressive personality. And I'd tell people like, I'm fun. Okay, let me just tell you, now having been through the business for at least 5 years, I realized that there wasn't anything more important than working on your mindset. And it sounds stupid and it sounds like it's very elementary. But really, honestly, if you'll just give yourself 15 minutes every day, because you're worth 15 minutes every day, to sit down and talk about in your mind or write down some positive affirmations for yourself. Like I said to you, and I said it to you before, I don't care what's going on in the market. I'm going to get mine. Now that's an affirmation for me. That is one thing that I know to the core of who I am. I'm going to always make sure that I get my deals done, because that is what I'm whatever you want to say, I'm putting out to the universe that I'm going to do. And my actions show it, I make sure that like I said, if you are a mom and you're home with kids and you only have a short window, you best make sure that you make the best of those hours that you have. I got very, very good at being relentless at shutting off my phone. And I don't know if any of my family came on this call, because sometimes my mom jumps on here. But I literally wouldn't take a family call till after 5 p.m. unless it was like 911 emergency. And everyone can say what they want to, but I have a son that has hemophilia. So I've got a pretty big reason to pick up the phone if my son calls. But I know the minute that I do and I let myself off, I'm not just like, I've broken my own promise, and that gets self-defeating over time. So don't let yourself off. That's going to be it's one of the core things that I do. So Chelsea has another question. How do you handle the seller's questions back at you, which is, how am I going to find a place in this market, replacing their property if they were to sell? Oh, I love this one. Okay. Oh, someone lost audio. Sorry. Can you hear me, Melanie? Here's exactly what I do, because I got this call today. So I got a call from a seller. He wants to sell. He's so nervous he's going to be homeless. And of course I have to tell them that is the worst fear, is making sure that we, you know, we're obviously going to get top dollar for your house. We're going to sell it immediately, but where do you have to go in term from the time that we find your house or we build you a house? This particular kid wanted to build, but I recently had one where they were going to buy an existing house. And I just told them what we're looking for in an offer is someone who's willing to lease back the property, that they're willing to lease back to you until you acquire another residence. And then I got 19 offers. I told every single agent that wrote me an offer, just so you know, what's most important to my seller isn't necessarily price. It's going to be who is going to be willing to lease back to my clients and give them an opportunity to find something on the market. I know I'm an aggressive agent. I know I'm going to be able to find something. It might take me a minute, but I'll find something. And so when I got the offers, I got 19 offers, and we went with one that allowed them to lease back for the same amount per month and per diem daily that they were paying for their mortgage, which is only fair. And I had them under contract in 3 days, you know, but they had the reassurance knowing that I was going to put out to the agents, this is what we're accepting. And so that when the offers came in, the ones that didn't have it, we just discredited it right away because they had nowhere to go. They have little tiny kids. And let me further also say this too, in this type of a market, when you're handling showings and they've got little kids, we actually just did a window from like 10 in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. And I told my clients just to stay away for those hours. And we just did almost like an open house. We just let people come in and just told them, please just be courteous of the other agents coming in. You know, because you can't set up appointments like that. You're going to take 3 days to get through the properties. Anybody else just loving the fact that properties get listed and then they're like, we'll review offers on Monday after they like collect 55 offers. You know, that's our fault as real estate agents. And then we get back to our office and we start bitching about how we've got 55 offers to go through. We're like, this is so awful. I've got 55. This is so hard. Well, you're the one that left it open for 8 days. You know, I mean, geez, we know we have a good sellable property. Give it the 2 days, 3 days that it needs to get the people that are working or whatever in there. Give them a window to come and see it, make offers due on a certain time, and then make sure you follow through with the people that gave offers and cut off any additional offers from that time frame. If you've got 25 offers, I mean, at some point you have to cut it off, you know, it just doesn't make sense. And it's just overwhelming for your sellers. We're making it really difficult for them. And then just a little tidbit, I take the top 5 offers and I send it over to my title company and I have them give me net sheets on all 5 of the top 5. And then that way, when I go sit down with the clients, I let them know all of these are lower or because of this, this, and this, and this, they didn't make the top 5. And then we're gonna look at these top 5. It's never been an issue with me. They don't ever want to go through all of them because to go through 25 or 50 offers is horrible. I think I heard someone the other day, and Beverly, maybe you know of more. Someone said that they had 32 offers on a property. Have you heard of more?
No, that is insane. And the most I've heard, let's see, over cash or over asking price in cash was $75,000 over. It's insane.
We have it over 100 here.
Yeah, with appraisals being waived,
It's
right?
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's really insane. And so part of that is like us setting the expectation with the sellers as to what they can expect to make sure that we can actually manage what's going on. So I was talking to an agent yesterday, I was coaching her and she's out of Arizona, adorable. I love her. And she was telling me that like her phone is ringing off the hook so much, she can't generate more business because of 3 listings that she got. You know, 3 listings is not a ton. Like that's not a lot. So like when you work on a team that's carrying, you know, 75 to 100 listings, now I can see the phone's getting a little busy, but 3 listings isn't a lot. And so to not have in the remarks how this is going to go, like this is how our showings are going, this is how we're reviewing offers. If you don't mitigate that to begin with in your remarks, that's your fault. You know, let's try to be as efficient as we possibly can, you know, and let's try to make sure that we're doing our best service that we can for our customers, making sure that we don't miss calls or that we're being short with agents because we're irritated that our phone is ringing 20 million times, you know. So just trying to preface and like future pace some of those issues, but you don't know if you don't know that you don't know, right? So that's why we do these trainings. So yeah, so let's see. So that's how I handle that with my sellers. And then like for the ones that are building today, I asked them if they had a place to go, because it's going to take 9 to 10 months to probably build them a home. And they said, yeah, no problem. You know what? We actually can move in with my mother-in-law. They already figured out the issue before we even got started, you know? So now I've told them that, you know, there's a reason why they'd want to sell now instead of waiting in 6 months. And that would be because I never know when the pandemic is going to come back, neither do you. And I never know when the interest rates are going to change, neither do you. They're projecting them to stay steady like this till the end of this year. And then they're projecting for next year for them to go up to about 3%, which is all really, really good. Which means when you're talking to your sellers who are saying, we're just going to hang on and we're going to wait. Well, as long as you're willing to wait at least 2 years, because this isn't going to go away. Like for our buyers, it's not going to go away. And with 75,000 over list, we're doing nothing but driving prices, you know? So sooner than later has always been the rule of thumb, no matter what market you're in real estate, you know, except for if you're making bad loan decisions in 2006 and 7 and 8. That was really unfortunate. But anyhow, so this market that you're in, so that goes back to the mindset shift. Make sure that when you hear somebody saying how horrible this market is, that you, in your mind, you should mindset shift what they're saying right into a positive and say to yourself, I'm grateful for all these buyers in the marketplace, because that's how I'm going to build my SOI. That is how I'm going to be I'm going to build my repeat referral business over the next 5 years by staying really good in touch with people and letting them know what's going on in the marketplace. And then when it's finally time for them to make a move, they're going to remember that I was the one that kept them informed. It's such a big thing, that repeat referral business. My very first broker told me I couldn't build a business being a buyer's agent. He told me, you'll be back, and I have a place for you. So when you go there and you fail, it's fine. I've got a place back here that you can come and work for me. Okay, well, I built a business out of being a buyer's agent. So if you're a new agent and you're considering it and you're in a fast market like this, you should check it out. You just never know. It's not a good fit for everybody. It happened to be a good fit for me. I was an individual agent before I was a buyer's agent for 5 years. So I knew what it took to be an individual agent before I became a buyer's agent. And then I just built my business from being a buyer's agent. Those people are going to sell eventually. Okay, so yeah, so mindset. So 2 things that you can do to keep your mindset straight. Make sure you do your affirmations, and then read the book Shift. That's a Keller Williams book, so don't feel like a traitor if you're not Keller Williams. But Gary Keller has some really good insight. I love this quote that he puts in there. Let me tell you. It says, shifting your business to propel yourself forward or to adjust to a market can literally be the transformation your business or your life just might need. You can change your thinking, your focus, and your actions, and ultimately it will change your results. So by just shifting your thinking and your focus and your actions, you'll get a better result. It's a guarantee. I know this because I did it, you know. So thinking to yourselves, so how can you apply that to your business? What is your listing transaction goal for the year? What's your buy side transaction goal for the year? I'm not a dollar amount motivated agent. I'm more of a listing number or a transaction like motivated. So to me, in my mind, if I do somewhere between 35 and 50 deals a year, I'm doing good. Especially with prices that are rising, and my average sales price is like 400 and something. Like my average sales price is decent. For my area, it's not bad. Like I'm not a luxury agent by any means, but I have sold luxury. Like I just don't know that I need to specialize in it, but it's totally fine. So knowing what your goal is for the year, and then making sure that every day, not once a week, once a month, every day, you think to yourself, what am I doing today to make sure that I'm taking care of those buyers or sellers that I'm currently working with? Because I'm looking for 1 contract a week. So I always tell everybody that's like my number 1 secret of how I found more success was focusing on the deal a week. Who can I put under contract this week? Who can I get to sign a rep agency agreement this week? And the rest of the people, they don't take a backseat, but they are 100% my priority. And I'm relentless. Like if you talk to the lender that I work with here in town, they know that my lead time from the time I get a buyer rep signed to the time they go under contract is less than a week. Fast, fast, fast. because I know what the market is and I've set them up for what they can expect and what's coming on and what's a good property and what's not, right? So it's all about working that customer through the process. And dang, all of us are working with tons of buyers. We have lots of opportunity to practice. So fail fast. I love failing. It's just such a learning experience. You know, if you're prospecting and you get a call and they say, no, I'm not interested, and they just hang up on you, that's nothing you can do about that. Learn the word next. Like, that's my favorite word, next. You know, I have this thing that, like, I have to ask myself when I hang up the phone, is there something I could have done better? Or is there something I forgot?
How can we work on our phone etiquette? You know, like the whole process. Like, I'm doing a lot of other trainings and stuff, and they keep saying, you know, practice, 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 but you can't just do it by yourself. And it's hard, like for me, it's hard to do with my husband just because of his mindset. It just ends up, we fight. So what do you recommend we do for us to get good on the phone? Like, I was a customer service rep for the bank, so you know, years ago, so I have phone etiquette, but like, how do we make it so that it just rolls off? Like, how do you recommend we practice that?
Yeah. So I always go back to some type of script, and let me tell you why. So even if you don't like scripts, what you use is a script. So the more that we understand that, like, how we speak to people is actually a script. Like, when someone, even right down to how you answer your phone, hello, or this is Nicole, or hi, my name is so-and-so, I'm with Team Surge, how can I help you? That's a script. And the reason why we get so good at it, like when you say hello, do you say it different ways every time, or you just go hello, or hey, it's Nicole? You say it the same every single time. Like, we all answer the phone the same, and it's only because we've been doing it for years, okay? But when you have a script, I always, like, the number one thing, and I was there too, where I was like, that just doesn't feel like me. It feels so fake and forced. Like, I'll give you a for instance. So I was brought up in the Mike Ferry organization, total listing agent, listings, buyers, terrible, right? But here's the script. Hi, this is Nicole Briggs. I'm calling about the home for sale. Is this the owner? Fantastic. I was, you know, we're doing a survey of all the homes for sale in the area, and I was wondering, if you sold your home, where would you go to next? These are all scripts, you know? So now my script is a little different, which is what I've told you already, what I've said. Any script is good as long as you use it. So if you feel like it's not one that fits your personality type, write it down, make the slight adjustments to it, and then practice it. And you can practice it by yourself. I like to listen to it in my car, just because I'm in my car a lot. But I recorded myself. And the reason why was because listening to someone else's voice, you always think that your voice sounds terrible over the microphone. Like, you're always like, oh, I sound so stupid, or I sound horrible. If you record your voice, you understand, and you get to be more accustomed to what you sound like. So you get more confident in who you are too. So it's kind of a double win-win there. But record yourself. I mean, we have these awesome devices that we can just record what we're saying. You're in a meeting and you ask somebody a question and you want to know what they said, just record it and then practice it and make it your own. I'm an expressive personality, so sometimes they feel really forced and kind of stuffy. And I'm not really a stuffy person. Like, I'm definitely not stuffy. So I feel like in order for me to be comfortable and confident in what I'm saying, I feel like I have to add a bit of me to it. And as long as it gets me the same result every time, I'm still getting the sale, or I'm getting the contract signed, that's okay. That's a win, you know? But that's why I started coaching, was because I didn't get that option in some of those programs. They were like, if you don't follow this, like, you're winging it and you're terrible. Like, no wonder why you suck. Like, that's literally what someone would say to me. No wonder why you're terrible. Like, you're going off script. Okay, but you know, I don't know what I'm good at. I'm good at going off script and then pulling them right back to where I stopped. You know, get good at that. And once you start to think about scripting as just as a roadmap, from taking them as an inquiry all the way to a customer, I know exactly where I'm taking the person when I have a conversation with them. I'll give you a for instance too. So when people call in on my website, and it's just a lead that comes in, I just call them and say, hi, my name is Nicole Briggs. I'm with Keller Williams. I just noticed you recently registered on my website. I was just reaching out to introduce myself and see if there's any questions that I can answer for you. That's a yes, no question, right? So of course they're going to say, nope, I'm just looking. Well, fantastic. Here's the great news about my website. It's directly linked to me. And so anytime you get on and you peruse or you browse, feel free to use it at your leisure. And then anytime you have questions, feel free to reach out, because I'm really the owner of the website. I just wanted to make sure I reached out so that you knew a real person was on the other line, not a computer. Like, I win over the computer, you know, they want to know it's a real person. My favorite is when I text a client on the internet and they send back stop. Okay, well, I'm like a real person. So I send them back, hey, this is Nicole. I'm an actual person. So when you say stop, does that mean you don't want me to text you? You registered on my website. I just was wondering how I can help. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just trying to let you know you came to me. So you can dismiss me if you like, and that's fine, but I'm a real person. Like, be decent, you know, be nice. And sometimes they're like, yes, okay, bye, next. You know what I mean? Like, learn the next thing. It's an internet lead, it's fine. But 9 times out of 10, they're like, oh, sorry, I thought this was one of those automated things. I know. A lot of them are. It's totally fine. I'm just a real person. If you have 5 or 10 minutes to talk about your home search, I'd love to discuss it with you. Looks like you're from California. Are you making a trip here anytime soon? No, we're not thinking about moving until a year or two ago. I'm telling you, that's how it goes, you know, but you have to be able to know what you're going to say and use some type of script dialogue, and then make it your own. Make it your own so you'll use it. That's the number one thing I think agents don't do, is they get a script and they're like, this doesn't feel like me, I'm not using it, and they toss it out, when there really is good stuff behind scripts. It's, you know, it's about being conversational. And so when you don't know, you just take what you can, but make sure you make it your own. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's see. So yeah, the book Shift, that's a Gary Keller book. However, when he's talking about the focus, that's where I'm talking about making sure you get your deal a week and focusing on which clients are going to be good, and then making sure you put action to it. What are you going to do today for those 5 clients that are on that list? You're either going to be checking the MLS for them, you're going to be sending them properties, or you're going to be emailing them saying, hey, just wanted you to know I'm still looking for you and nothing has come on today. I'll keep you posted. Staying in touch with your clients is so important. If your clients make an offer on a property and they don't get it, call them immediately and let them know they didn't get it so that you can be on to the next. Get them very good at not getting emotional about losing out. And then the more that you're like, I know, this is such a bummer. I'm sorry, this is so bad. Instead, call them up and say, hey, you know what? The seller has decided to move forward with another offer. So no worries. I'm going to continue to keep searching for me. I know you loved this, and this about it. So I'm going to be on the hunt for something else. Any questions that you have? You know, be the positive PD. Be positive. People don't want to hang out with people that are negative, especially in a market like this that's fast. And they'll gravitate to you if you embrace the market and you tell them what a great opportunity this is, because it really actually is. You think about it, and people are selling their homes at the highest they've ever sold for. You can't have it both ways. It's just not realistic. But what you can do is make sure that they're going to capitalize on this great market. They're going to get out all the money that they possibly could, maybe even $100,000 more. And if you look at it, the prices have gone up 100. They're buying a similar like property, right? They realized it in the profit and they're putting it back in the buy. So now it's up to you to make sure that they're buying in a great location. It's a good resellable property so that you're not just selling them just anything. Those rules still apply, but we have to give them that perspective. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, last thing. So of course, reading books like that is, so 15 minutes for your affirmations, spend 15 minutes on reading, cram whatever you can that's positive. I've shared with you guys a million times my Bible that I love so much. Just having a positive mindset. I can open that book anytime to a positive quote. You're more okay than you think. Thank the Lord. You know, like sometimes I just need a little something, something. So make sure you're reading your books. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is just controlling your environment, which I've hit on already. Making sure that you're paying attention to some of the negativity that's going on. If you're in a business meeting and they're starting to talk about market, do your own homework, will you? And like last night I got on and was checking more in detail about loans and the lending, because that is an X factor you and I have no control over. I have zero control over what's going to happen with that interest rate. And I don't know when the next pandemic is going to come, and nobody does, right? But I definitely need to be educated to know, like, how long is this going to last? I was going through my text messages last night because I have an investor that has been trying to buy for 3 years. He's bought 3 other properties with me. And when I say trying, sending me properties and me telling him there's 1,500 homes on the market. There's 1,423 homes on the market. There's 1,310 homes on the market. So I went back through my numbers, and in 2018, there was 1,510 homes on the market, and there's 200 now. So waiting didn't really work out real well for him. And now he's asking me for the same property that's like $125,000 more now. You know, so it just doesn't, but if I'm not giving him the information, I can feel bad. But the fact that I was giving him the information, he says to me, Nicole, I totally should have listened to you. Totally fine. It's fine. We'll just go find something today. So now he's back at this subdivision, Coral Canyon, where like now I'm on the hunt with everybody else, which is totally fine. It's just part of the way that it is. But at least I know I did my job. You know, I did what I was supposed to, and I gave him the market stats. So that's why I say every day when you come into the market, when you come into your office or wherever it is that you work, make sure that you're working those people who are your prospects. You're working them and you're giving them the best information that you possibly can, because eventually they'll come back to you. It's how you build the repeat referral business for sure. There's one more thing I wanted to hit before I hung up. Yeah. I think that was it. Just making sure that you reach out to those people. Super important. Anyone have any questions for me? I know it's a lot of just like reiterating things, but really the market is super interesting and it's very fast. And I hope you look at it as an opportunity, because it really, really is. And if you're good with buyers or you don't love buyers, learn to love them and start specializing in them, because it'll make you a better listing agent. Promise. Any questions? Oh, what's the name of the author of the book? This one is Cleo Wade. I love her. And then Market Shift or Shift is Gary Keller. I usually don't give out like specific books that are brokerage specific, but that one has lots of things on how to course correct and how to really learn that word next, so that you can just kind of move forward and move on. So important not to get too frustrated with what's going on in the marketplace. Keep your head down and go to work. And don't worry about what everyone else is doing. You all should be paying attention to the people who are top producers. They're not struggling. They're doing more. There's a reason for that. It's because they know how to work, you know, and this is where you'll learn how to do it in a market like this, which is super exciting. Makes your next 5 years awesome, because all these buyers you'll be selling are going to be listings. Okay, let's see. McKay says she has some buyers that are grateful, and she sends them property every day and has shown them what has sold, so that they know that they can get into something that they like, and remind them that it's still in, that they're still in it. So it really keeps buyers motivated. Buyers will lose track, or they'll lose motivation. They'll be like, you know what, forget it. So it's our job to give them the information and be the positive voice behind there, because they're counting on us, you know? So really taking it personal. I take my real estate business personal. Like I really do. I really want them to work with me, and I really want them to buy a home with me, because I know I'll do a good job, you know, and I'll sell them a good property. So working on that mindset to make sure you end up doing the same. Super fun. Okay, if there's not any other questions, I am so grateful you guys are on here. I'm doing a podcast today, so in a couple days I should have a podcast from another gal up north that's having me on her show. So I'll be sure to post that on my Instagram and on my story, so you guys can see that when I get it done. But just be talking all things real estate. So if there's anything that you need, you guys know you can reach out to me. You know my email, showupnikkiB@gmail.com, or you can find me on social media. Okay, guys? Take care. Have a great week. See you later. Bye, Beverly.